Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Derek Strauss with Gavroshe, and today I have the pleasure of talking with Plein. Caitlin is the VP of Data Analytics and Engineering at Clayco. Welcome to you, Caitlin.
Thank you, Derek. Nice to be here.
Caitlin, you're going to be talking soon at a conference that's coming up here April 15th to 17th in Austin, Texas. And you're going to be speaking about a number of topics, very interesting topics about things like data catalog and prioritizing the most profitable analytics initiatives for business growth, all within the context of the construction industry, which is a fascinating industry. We're looking forward, firstly, to hearing what you've got to say in the conferences. But let's start by just asking you to give our listeners a bit of your background and how you became interested in the overall theme of actionable data analytics.
Sure. Thanks. And I'm excited to be speaking at that conference. I attended the conference last year. I had just joined Clayco. Construction industry was new to me, and so advancing construction analytics was a really great way to kind of get my feet wet and understand the industry a lot better. In terms of my background, I've always really loved solving puzzles and problems, games, sort of unlocking different mysteries. And in school, I studied psychology and statistics, and really loved how those disciplines helped me understand different populations, different behaviors. And I spent the first part of my career in the academic sector kind of with that more traditional experimental research design that focuses on kind of what's happening and maybe a little bit of why does it happen. Just sort of building the knowledge base in the world. And then I moved into the corporate sector, and I've had a couple of different stops before my current stop. And what I found is that in the corporate sector, you go beyond what's happening, why is it happening, on to some of the predictive analytics, what's going to happen next, and what's the best next action that we could take based on different risk profiles or probabilities of those outcomes. And what's even more interesting, as you know, AI and ML kind of take over the world, is how do we then automate that decision making and just really start to accelerate how we can leverage data to innovate faster and move business forward. So, I mean, all of that together just has been one eye-opening experience after another for me, and has kept me engaged.
Mm. Yeah, indeed, it is so exciting to see how things have developed. But of course, there's some fundamental issues that organizations have to try and get right, in order to, because there's so many ways that you can stumble on this journey and lose direction and start getting people saying, oh, well, that didn't work, let's get on to the next big thing that comes down. So, I mean, what do you see as being like the fundamental issues that
Sure.
organizations need, to resolve if they're really going to get full benefit out of data analytics?
Sure. So there are two main areas. One is more about people and the organization itself, and the other is more around just how do you handle your data. So if we look at the people and organizational factors, it's really helpful. Everyone talks about you need to have buy-in from the very tip top of leadership, and that's absolutely true. What also needs to occur is there really needs to be very widespread understanding at all levels of the organization that the leadership has those goals and what those goals and targets are, right? We call it data literacy, but from, literally every level of the organization, there needs to be an understanding that, hey, data's gold, and we need everyone to be thinking about, am I capturing the data? Am I capturing it in a system? Is it digital? Could a computer observe it and find it and use it for analytics? Or, do you have a process that maybe has been around for a long time and it's on a notepad, or it's in an Excel file that you use for yourself, or you have in a small team share that isn't available for the organization to mine and leverage for analytics purposes? So everyone really needs to understand kind of the goal, and there are some hurdles to overcome. Maybe you have that Excel process because you don't have an application at the organization that covers those needs. But it's really about how do you then partner with, your IT organization or your data team to figure out how to close those gaps. Also, it just comes down to how thoughtful am I as a worker when I'm entering data, creating data? Am I being thoughtful about being complete and as accurate as I'm able to be? And then when I have conversations with data professionals, is that really an open dialogue that's sort of back and forth where it's, we're partners, and, I understand that the data organization is here to help me focus on things that as a business person, I have a unique skill set to bring to the table, and take some things off of my plate, like, data entry or crunching numbers and that sort of type of thing. So that's kind of on the business, the people, the organizational side of things. On the data side of things, you want to make sure that your data has high availability. So is it available usually in a centralized place? We've moved away from the days of data belonging to the back end of a very specific application and staying within that application, to consolidating data from all of our applications into data lakes or central repositories. And we need to do that in a timely way. So that, if you look in the application and then you look in your reporting or your analytics, it's kind of flowing on the same cadence, and you don't have stale data in one place and more up-to-date data in another place. You always want to think about how resilient is your data. So are you building things out kind of fast and loose, or are you building them out with orchestration and alerting so that hopefully the data team is the first to know when something's broken and can go in and resolve? The third thing that I would say is, of course, security. So every organization has data security and privacy, legal, regulatory considerations around data. And the data engineering team especially, and the data analytics team, need to make sure that they're applying those policies in an automated way just to stay in compliance and to protect the organization from risk. And then the last is authoritative data, which is a really big one, right? So authoritative data is this data really accurate? Can I trust it? Does it mean what you say it means? And in that space, that's where we get into data quality. So cleansing and cataloging the data, in cases creating what we call master data. So it's kind of the golden record of all of the business context around different versions of the data that might have come in across a period of time. How do you know which one to pick? And then creating just additional business context around all of this raw data.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think those are so important, all of those items. In fact, just keying in on that last one about the master data and the data quality side of things, that certainly resonates with a lot of the experience that I've had in the same area, as being probably one of the most important aspects that is just foundational to be able to do really good insights and analytics around data, so that it becomes really trustworthy to the rest of the organization. Because as soon as they start seeing kind of problems due to that, people tend to get really nervous about the trustworthiness of what they're dealing with. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, so in my current role in construction, we have construction projects, and so kind of think about it as building out like that profile of the project and showing, where is this project, what is it about, how far are we along. You start to, exactly like you're saying, when you start to tie those pieces together in the wrong way, it makes folks really nervous about, well, do you guys really know what you're talking about on the data side? Because I don't want to use this. I don't want to trust it if you have mistakes in your logic.
Very good, very good. Well, I think that sets us up very nicely for the next segment. And so thank you for that. And I just want to let the audience know, hey, this is going to be broadcast to everyone as two separate segments. The first one is setting it up, and the second one is really diving in a little bit deeper into understanding some of the things we can do for delivering actionable data and insights. And so if you are just hopped on to listening to us on this first one, be sure to keep an eye open for when the second segment gets posted, because there's more juicy stuff to be talked about there. So Caitlin, thanks for helping me to get through this first segment and key everything, or tee everything up nicely for the second. And to the audience, hey, we'll see you shortly. Watch out for the segment 2.